I don't think it's a stretch to say that 2015 was one of the greatest years that Ninjago has ever seen. After all, it was kicked off with a stellar storyline in the form of the Tournament of Elements, and the momentum built up in this winter wave absolutely carried on over into the summer as the Ninjago team pulled off one of the greatest waves the theme has ever seen in my view. And to see why it's so great, we're going to be taking a look back at the entire Ninjago Possession collection 10 years on. Not only did this line take us back to a spookier atmosphere not really felt since the Skeletons in 2011, but it also saw the return of the iconic spinner gimmick in the form of the Airjitzu flyers, and that is a great place for our look back to begin. Retailing for $10 back when they came out, each set contained a single minifigure, a selection of weapons ranging from shurikens to giant elemental blades, plus the Airjitzu flyer and handle build. Unlike the spinners of old, there was obviously no real battle element to these, since the minifigures were instead locked away in capsules to prevent them flying out when these were launched into the air using the ripcord. With 6 released, these were available for each of the 4 original Ninja, Wraith the Chainmaster and Morro the Master of Wind. I definitely think it was a fine reintroduction of the spinner gimmick, giving us a great new NRG collection, as well as a cheap way to get hold of the theme's main villain. Beyond Airjitzu, there were also initially 9 more sets to bring this cursed world to life. The $20 Blaster Bike was the cheapest of the bunch and probably the most forgettable as well, but even so, it still serves as a good first example as to what made this wave so great. The bulk of the 212 pieces went towards Cole's large bike, a predominantly black vehicle with lots of gold and brown accents tying into his earth colour scheme, storage space for his weapon next to where he pilots the bike, and a simple play feature where you can flip up these huge stud shooters on each side to fire off a barrage of golden studs at those pesky ghost ninja. Of course, if the stud shooters failed, Cole also had his Aeroblade, which was the official collectible for these sets. There were 5 available, scattered throughout the wave, with different coloured spikes and central tile pieces to link them to their respective ninja. This black and orange one was actually exclusive to the Blaster Bike, though it obviously wasn't hard to change another Aeroblade if you didn't really want to buy this set, because it wasn't really all that special for the world of Ninjago bikes, and Cole himself did get a much better looking one in 2019, but it's not all the set had to offer. You also got a mini Ghost Dragon build to fight back, which was actually quite a decent size when you compare it with the bike, giving you room to sit Cowler on top with a not too shabby amount of articulation in the tail, neck and wings as well. And on top of the 2 minifigures, they also threw in 2 Screamers. These were a genius addition to this set wave, as they seriously helped bump up the Ghost Army's numbers without needing to add more and more minifigures to sets. Although, as you're going to see throughout this video, even that wasn't a problem for this set wave. Instead, they could fly around on their own, screaming and carrying weapons, or attached to a minifigure head to possess them, letting you turn heroes into villains and give the ninja an even harder time. It was something that Alien Conquest did with its Alien Clingers a few years prior, but while you only got 3 of those in the entire set wave, these Screamers were absolutely everywhere. There were 2 more included in the $30 Chain Cycle Ambush, so already with just 2 sets, Ninjago Screamers were up 1 on the Alien Clingers. And frankly, Wraith's Ghost Bike blew Cole's out of the water. A 3-wheeled monster with transparent green blades and chains all over it, a menacing ghost head and even more Screamer face details on the bike itself. And to ensure it wasn't defenseless, this featured stud shooters and a chain catapulting function at the back, much like the one in the Titanium Dragon set. Zane, meanwhile, was merely equipped with an ice staff and jetpack, which could also double as a surfboard, giving him just enough of a boost to hopefully take his Aeroblade before the ghost can get to it. This small trap wasn't really necessary, but to be honest, I really do like how it used those Chima spider legs just to ramp up the creep factor a bit and just add a little bit of world building to the set. And it wasn't the only piece of ghostly terrain that we got for world building, because the Jaywalker one also featured a small side build for the ghosts as well. This time, a small little gateway with screaming disc shooters to defend the stolen lightning Aeroblade. Of course, the main draw of this $40 set though was the giant car for Jay. A true Ninjago Ghostbuster. This was big and it was bulky because it was designed to accommodate this giant ghost vacuum. As you raise it up, the compartment at the back opened so it could basically simulate sucking up the 3 included ghosts into storage and then fire them back out as ghostly discs whenever you needed to. And with 1 more Screamer also included, we were now up to 5 just from 3 sets. That's on top of the 6 Ghosts and Dragon that you also got. You can really see how the Ghost Army is shaping up to be one of the greatest we've gotten, but again, more on that later. For now, we move on to the other $40 set in the line, the 575-piece Master Wu Dragon. This was a real surprise. It was the first time we ever got a Wu Dragon, and it was also packed full of substantial builds, making it arguably one of the best value Ninjago sets of all time. First of all was the entrance to Wu's T-Farm, which held on to the golden Aeroblade, was protected by flick missiles and a crossbow wielding dog, and can be adjusted into different shapes thanks to the mixel joints holding it all together. For Soul Archer, Pitch and Hackler, there was a corrupted T-Car which featured another of those ghost shield stickers on top, as well as some more of those screamer discs to shoot out at enemies. And then of course the dragon itself, Wu's Elemental Dragon, which was brilliantly designed for him. The face perfectly used Unikitty tails to give it a wise moustache, the wings shone with golden energy thanks to those Hero Factory flame pieces, and the saddle for Wu to sit on was actually an empty tea crate, reading Wu Sensei on the back, that could be removed along with this golden table and these yellow cups hanging from the bottom, so Wu and Cole can enjoy a nice refreshing beverage after a long night of ghost hunting. It's so silly, but I just love it. With ratchet and ball joints, the dragon also enjoyed a good amount of articulation in its legs, wings and tail, and while there are one or two unsightly areas on it, for the most part this was another really solid build for the Possession collection. With the Wu Dragon added, that now brings us up to 6 Screamers and 9 Ghosts, with 3 of the Generals also present here. As for Gultar, the cheapest set to feature him was the Ronin REX, and he was accompanied by yet another Screamer, as well as a small Ghost Dragon for this Ghost Warrior to ride around on, with a little bit more articulation than the one from Blasterby. But of course, most importantly, this was the flagship set for Ronin, the mysterious new bounty hunter who was teased earlier in the year with advertisements for the Shadow of Ronin video game. I think it's pretty clear that this thing is heavily inspired by Boba Fett's Slave One from Star Wars, with its dark red and green colour scheme, adjustable bits sticking out on each side, plus giant cockpit window which opens up with a movable seat for Ronin to sit down on, complete with storage for all of his weapons as well as some safes to store all of his money. The handle to hold the ship and swish it round is also built the same as an Airjitzu flyer, because, well, this set also featured an Airjitzu flyer for Kai sat on top. And what's extra cool about that is when you pull on the ripcord to launch it off into the sky, it also spins these propellers at the front. It was just a really well made gimmick integration. This was also one of 2 sets to include the Sword of Sanctuary, an important sword for the storyline as it could show you your opponent's move before they make it, and was vital in the search for the first Spinjitzu Masters too. The other set to include it was the $100 City of Stiix, and what a fantastic playset this one turned out to be. With 1,069 pieces, this offered up 4 builds, the biggest of course being Ronin's pawn shop, which was unfortunately cursed and taken over by the Ghost Army to use as a secret base, and the way this was designed I think that got that vibe across perfectly. First of all, the rocks at the front open up, leading into a wet basement area, while the chain back here leads into the smuggler's shop above, Ronin's main headquarters, which is packed with weapons and other items he's got for sale, including a stand for the Aeroblade and a shelf containing none other than Klaus's spellbook. It was a little bit late in the year, sure, but still, inside there was a Ninjago trading card for Jay, and if you've ever noticed those showing up from time to time in random sets and thought it was a really cool collection to have, then you owe thanks to this set for introducing the idea. Above that is a smaller room which has
got a chair and a table,
with trapdoor to throw you back down into the shop below. And outside on this level is also this hanging cage, which you can simply adjust by moving this Technic sub-assembly that the chain sits over. Finishing off the tower was the Scroll of Airjitzu, or rather the map portion of it, since it was that could show the location of the first Spinjitzu Masters too. And that was protected by a big green cannon to aim and fire these green balls. Extra ammo could be found in this crate down at the shop level. I feel like this worked so well because it took the traditional temple facade design we'd come to expect from Ninjago, but flipped it on its head by turning it into a ghost-infested smuggler's den. It was weirdly familiar and yet also fresh and exciting. Accompanying this was this small side build, which featured a cannon on this small platform, as well as a large windmill on the other. You could put this wherever you wanted, adjusting the ladders on it to link to the main city to help characters get to and from it. And yeah, just like the terrain builds from some of the other sets, it just really helped flesh out the world a little bit more. On top of all that, there was also a corrupted Cloud Kingdom boat for the ghosts, which has a little bit of room on the deck alongside weapon storage, a telescope, stud shooter cannons, and a barrel holding 2 keys to unlock this jail cell at the back of the ship. The torn up sail paired with all the other ghostly details really helped make this the perfect vehicle to assist Morro and his army on this coastal stronghold. And the smallest build was just a simple speedboat for Nia. Nothing too special, but it is armed with water cannon stud shooters to fight back. With Nia, Kai, Jay, Possessed Lloyd, Wraith, Ming, Cyrus, Gultar, and another Screamer, This once again had a surplus of ghosts to take on the ninja and give them a real challenge. And a fun fact about this one, when you take away Samurai X and Gultar, this actually has the same minifigure lineup as the attack of the Morro dragon. I mean, Ming and Cyrus were renamed Yokai and Cowler, but still. Once again, the Ghost Army was showing who's boss with this huge 658 piece dragon set for Possessed Lloyd. The face is menacing with those large silver teeth, green ghostly spikes, and vicious red eyes shining out, complete with green chains for Morro to hold onto, while the body is very serpentine-like as it twists up and down, making great use of the mint green elements to make it feel like it's almost glowing and integrating a little handle into the body itself so you can easily pick the thing up and fly it around. The nice flexible tail, 4 equal sized legs and 2 wings added a great finishing touch to the whole thing, also allowing for some posing thanks to ball and ratchet joints once again. Yeah, this one was so well done. It was actually the first Ninjago dragon to use fabric sheets for its wings rather than being fully brick built, and that really helped set it apart in a good way even more. Kai and Jay meanwhile got these little speeders to fly away from the dragon, and then there was also this small build for Cloud Kingdom. This had room for the arrow blades to be stored on these glow-in-the-dark stands, as well as lots of weapons and, most importantly, the realm crystal sat front and centre. I think the intention was that this was actually the first Spinjitzu Master's tomb, but the show kind of repurposed the design to match the Cloud Kingdom. Either way though, it was another cool inclusion, adding a small retreat for the ninja to regroup and recover. This set was surprisingly the only one of the whole wave to include glow-in-the-dark elements, which I think is one thing that they could have lent into more, because it was really cool to see on these ghost weapons, and again the Cloud Kingdom build. At this point you can really see how this wave did a great job setting up a great battle with a roughly even split for ninja and ghost builds. And the next set was pretty much the most evenly matched of the lot, the 754 piece Titan Mech battle. At $60 this was surprisingly $10 cheaper than the Morro Dragon, and for that price you got small cave side builds with harpoon and aeroblade storage alongside 2 mighty mechs to go toe to toe. First was Zane's Titan Mech, pretty small compared to today's Titan Mechs, but armed with blades on the forearms and stud shooters by the cockpit. This upper body is also able to rotate fully around, while the arms can also move however you like. The legs though were definitely a weak spot for this one, just being a little bit awkward. Not terrible though, but the Ghost Mech was a real highlight for this set. This was actually the original Samurai X Mech but corrupted into this 4-armed monster, and you can really see that showing through with the build. The forearms all wield green blades and get to move independently using transparent green CCBS joints to add more ghostly flair to it, while the corrupted cockpit has space for a single ghost to stand and pilot. Details from that original Samurai Mech are still present here, like using the cowcatcher pieces for shoulder pads and jetpack connected to the samurai head, now using bat wings and a spider for its details. While the minifigure selection for this one was definitely one of the weakest for the whole wave, it did at least provide the cheapest way to get Deepstone's aim. And all around, this set on its own gave you the tools needed to make a great Ghost vs Ninja battle. Using the possession storyline to bring back an old hero vehicle and turn it into a villainous monster was a great idea, and the Samurai X Mech was a great choice to do that with, pushing Nia to her Water Ninja future. A future that would be realised in the biggest set of the wave, the $120 Final Flight of Destiny's Bounty. With 1,253 pieces, this was, at the time of its release, the biggest Ninjago set ever made. This was so exciting to get back in 2015, especially since we'd already surprisingly seen it debut at the end of Tournament of Elements. This set was pretty much double the size of the original, and as such the deck could fit a lot more minifigures on board, as well as these stud shooter cannons and crates and chests full of goodies. While the bridge area was also much bigger than before, fitting in a small control panel, harpoon cannons at the back, and a hidden workshop you could pull out of the roof, complete with an air bike for characters to fly into battle. Now the mechanism to open up the sails into flight mode on this one wasn't the best. The nature of the plastic used for the sails means that they do droop quite a bit and sometimes can get stuck in the Technic pieces. However, they do still look pretty decent and unique compared to the other bounties, especially with that fantastic shield piece sat between them. However, the mechanism at the back is quite simply the best for any of these ships in my opinion. By pulling the middle of the control room out like this, the jets swing open into flight mode like so. And unlike the original bounty, there is a proper handle to hold on to this one, a single Technic beam that drops down from the mast. Along with the bounty, there was yet another Ghost Dragon, and this one was quite a decent size too, although certainly not my favourite. It's very awkward looking, which I guess fits with the corrupted world, but yeah, just all around there's a few not so pleasant looking design choices made for it. That doesn't stop this from being another example of how these possession sets offered up a great conflict in a box. And with Wu, Nia, Cole, Lloyd, Morro, Gultar, Banshee, Soul Archer, Spider and 2 more Screamers, the minifigure selection really helped cement this set as the perfect flagship for the possession line. As we've seen, both heroes and villains got their own large base set, with a solid selection of vehicles and terrain builds to accompany it for the ninja, plus an equally solid range of dragons, vehicles and additional side builds for the Ghost Army as well. And if you've been keeping count throughout the video, you'd know that as far as minifigures go, we're now up to 27 Ghost minifigures scattered throughout these 9 sets, with an additional 13 Screamers accompanying them. 30 Ghosts when you include the Airjitzu Flyers and Kowler Dragon Polybag. This generous distribution made the Ghost Army one of the biggest you could obtain, which is another thing that really helped make this a frankly perfect line of sets for Ninjago. Compared to the most recent Dragon's Rising set wave, where 8 sets in a polybag give you just 7 Spectral Dragonians and 6 Forbidden 5 minifigures, you can really see how this was an immense collection. Being widely distributed is one thing, but the minifigures have to be good as well, otherwise why would you want them? Well, the minifigures weren't good, they were fantastic. I've talked about these ghosts in the past a few times, but to recap, we got 3 basic warrior designs, each with transparent green legs, blue and purple ninja robes and some different ninja masks and face prints, and on top of that there were also the 4 generals, all with more blue in their colour scheme than the warriors, and using the ghost tail piece introduced with this line helping to set them apart even more. Though Wraith, Banshee and Soul Archer did also get variants with legs. Soul Archer was in 2 sets, Banshee was in 3 sets, and Wraith and Gultar both made their way into 4 sets. All fantastically designed, all with many options for you to obtain them. Morro again, 2 fantastic variants to collect, both in multiple sets. His main ghost form being available in a cheap Airjitzu flyer was excellent, and then the possessed Lloyd minifigure showing up in the Dragon and Stiix was also great to see. And as if the 3 warriors scattered all around weren't enough, LEGO went and released this Ninja Army building set, giving 2 more unique Ghost Warrior designs to throw in. Howler had an exclusive torso piece, while Wu got an exclusive torso and face, which was printed on a black head just like Pitch and Wraith. For some reason though, this had Kai and Jay in their tournament suits. Bit of a missed opportunity to throw in Lloyd and another ninja, but oh well, the ninjas still had a lot going on. The Deepstone suits are one of my favourite collections we've gotten. I love that we went back to a predominantly black collection here, with the ninjas' primary colours acting as accents now. It really worked well for this darker, cursed world we were being thrust into. While Nia also stood out from the rest with her maroon, gold and blue outfit, as she finally became the Water Ninja. And after his stint as Evil Wu in 2014, Sensei Wu was back with this awesome dark grey and gold battle suit, which had some weapons stashed in the back much like the Deepstone suits. Their distribution wasn't as great as the Ghosts, but if you were a fan of Kai, Cole or Jay, you were definitely in luck. Kai and Cole made their way into 3 sets each, while Jay made it into 4. Really, the biggest missed opportunity for the ninja was the Chain Cycle Ambush, which included Airjitzu Zane rather than Deepstone. Sure, the Airjitzu NRG suits were a great collection, giving us an NRG line that matched nicely with the black Deepstone suits, but it just seems odd that he was the only one to show up outside of a flyer set. Zane, Nia and Lloyd were all exclusive to just 1 set, which meant that Titan Mech Battle and Destiny's Bounty were essential to get if you wanted to collect all of them. In fact, those 2 sets alone got you 5 of the 6, so you'd just need to pick up one of the others with Kai to finish the job, Ronin REX being the cheapest. At least that's how it was initially. Because just when we thought it couldn't possibly get any better than this, LEGO went and dropped the Temple of Airjitzu in September of 2015, though it was available from August 18th for VIP members. With 2,028 pieces, this became the new biggest Ninjago set of all time, and it truly was a gift to Ninjago fans. It was the first set to include all 6 ninja, providing another opportunity to get hold of Lloyd, Nia and Zane, as well as giving us Wu in his T-Shop retirement outfit, a new Dareth minifigure, and introduced the first ever Misako and only Postman minifigure. Jasper and Claire simply helped ground the set in the real world a bit by giving us generic civilians to man the shop and tour the temple. To say this set is good would be an understatement. It was downright perfection. The layout was beautiful, with the central temple flanked by smaller buildings, each with their own distinct look but still feeling like they all belong together. The Smuggler's Market had more of those Ninjago trading cards hidden away, while the blacksmith shop had a neat reference to the original ninja theme in the form of this glider. While in the show this was a haunted temple that can turn you into a ghost if you don't escape in time, this temple build was instead a cozy ninja base with gorgeous window details and rooms set up for painting, ninja training, afternoon tea, and evening movie time with its shadow theatre down at the bottom. Inside and out, this set was magnificent, and as an extra bonus, there was even a small firework cart thrown in using a stud shooter to help the ninja celebrate on a late summer evening. It really was the cherry on top of this magnificent possession collection, and the best possible way to mark the end of what, as we've seen, was a truly incredible year for LEGO Ninjago.